Yes, YouTube, what is up? I've been meaning to do this video for a couple of days now, but I haven't had the time to do it. So I'm going to try and do it now. And that is going to be breaking down exactly what I look for when taking a trade. What gives me conviction, what doesn't give me conviction, and all those things. So what we look for, we will do some back testing on this, but what we look for is AMD, which looks like this: accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution. Right, so that is the model. It's not always going to look exactly like this, but this is essentially what we look for. We look for price bunching up in a certain region. You know, it could be perfectly trapped, it could make highs, but the point is, from where we'll get into all the details in a sec, but we look for that, and then we look for that, or could be on the other side, look for that, and then we look for that. All right, so that is what we look for. I don't know how to get rid of this shit now. Just press it. Actually, let me just do this. Okay, so with this one, we have an accumulation. I think this must have been the last trade I took before I stopped back testing, but this would be our accumulation. Okay, and then the question is, how do we know when to enter, when to exit, all that kind of stuff? The exit is usually the top of the accumulation. Sometimes, if it's a confusing accumulation like this one, I would also potentially just move my stop loss to break even once we hit there, because I have seen that sometimes price does reverse from there, but that's up to your own discretion. And then your entry would be on the close of the iFVG. So for example, this one might have been tough to get in on. Probably say this 15-minute was the one, but that's not a strong closure, so I don't actually know if I took this trade or not. Back testing, but basically what you'd do is you'd find the first fair value gap that led to the manipulation, because this is the manipulation leg. And once we close back up past it, that is your entry. You put your stop loss below that low, take profit at the high. So I've already made a video of this strategy, the ins and outs of it, but something that I've realized that I think I knew before, but I didn't know how important it was, and I didn't know that that was what I was using at the time, because when I failed my last account, I passed, and then I just went on a mad losing spree. I couldn't figure out what was different, like what was I not seeing anymore. So to start with, I thought it was the accumulations. I thought, okay, I need to spot good accumulations, which is true. Part of it is finding the proper accumulations, because you don't want to just be trading shit that hasn't bunched up enough in order to be manipulated and then distributed. So finding a clear accumulation is, it's hard because it's subjective. Like, let's get to it. Let's just get into it instead of just chatting. So the thing is, you can see accumulations everywhere, and you can see them on all time frames, and they're always in different phases as well when you see them. So you could be looking at an accumulation that's an AMD setup, which is in its distribution phase, or you could be looking at, like for example here, look, we've got an AMD setup that's in its distribution phase. It's about to reach the top of its distribution phase. Look, so we've got an accumulation here. This is a bit more difficult because you could have looked at it from both sides. So let me just move past this because this is just going to confuse. Like, this does not, I don't think we need to go into this much detail yet. But anyway, so higher time frame, we've got a direction, we've got an idea on where we should go next. Whether that's right now, in the next day, or in the next week, we've got an idea of where we're going to go, right? Because I put that line there. We could come into this gap first before going there, but overall, that's the drawing liquidity on the daily, right? On this time frame, now we just look at any signs. So we know we're all about to hit there. So any other signs. Sign here says to me we're accumulating. So okay, that's a good sign. Cool. Right. So with that idea, I'm gonna draw this out as an accumulation because price is going sideways. We've got highs and lows trapped. So potentially when this session starts, we could look for that to come below there and carry on up. Alright, we've got a similar thing here. Look, an accumulation, manipulated above, and we've come back down. So it does look like we are going to come and take these lows first, which is good. Very good sign. Right. Even further, look, we've got that manipulated above that high here. And it looks like we've just manipulated into a 15-minute gap as well. So let's see. This isn't the most beautiful accumulation I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't like this really, to be honest. But we'll see what we can do with it. Yeah, I don't love it. I'm surprised that we haven't actually took that low. Okay, it looks like we're coming for that low. Okay, no. Right. So, I'm just not getting in this yet. For me, we're still accumulating. We haven't made a significant enough push in either direction for me to feel like, okay, cool, that was a manipulative move. But we're gonna get into this because the most important thing, like, is volume, and volume's gonna tell us everything we need to know. So okay, cool. We have got volume coming in now, but I would have wanted to see volume going up first, so I'm not trusting this yet. Looks like we're actually going to manipulate and distribute this side of the coin. Right, so here's an example, right? We've just had volume come out of this. All of this, like I said, you're not going to always see the perfect accumulation. Instead of being a box like that, we've kind of got this kind of sideways box. So you don't actually know that's an accumulation yet, but when price reacts like this, dumps down like that, takes a bunch of these lows, and then comes right back up, it's a very good sign, right? I wouldn't take this yet until we close strongly past it. And that's why. So that wasn't a strong distribution. The reason I didn't take that is because when we came back up, we still hadn't confidently closed past that iFVG. But we're going to get deeper into that anyway. So here we've done it again. I don't trust this because now I can't accurately tell you where the accumulation is, where the manipulation is. That distribution is strong and it should keep going higher, but it's not for me. But here's what I now like about this. If you now see on a bigger time frame, we're now manipulating. To me, I'm assuming that this is now manipulating up to come back down, because if you look, we've now got an accumulation. Even though we had the same move inside of there, this is now an accumulation on a bigger time frame because we're trapped. All these lows never broke the main low, and all these highs have slowly gone up, but that is a massive push up compared to those highs. right? And we had volume come out of there. Key part of this um, uh, key part of this strategy is volume, right? So the next part of this point, right? I don't know if this is going to come back down. I don't know whether it's worth waiting. Okay, it's coming back down. So the key part about this next part is this gap here, right? And I actually like this gap because it's actually in the accumulation, right? So here's our accumulation overall. And the reason I've added that in is because I feel like when I do accumulations, I need something that says we're trapped high and trapped low. So the fact that we've come above this high and then turn around, I'm thinking that high is and that low, and then we've just trapped here. Now, the safer move, I might actually wait for this. And the reason I'd wait for that is because, and this is how I lose, this is how I failed, this is how sometimes this strategy fails, right? Sometimes you're going to get an accumulation and we're just going to push up from just here and then come back round, and this iFVG here is going to be outside of the accumulation. And since recognizing this pattern, I never ever take that anymore, and I only take iFVGs that are deep inside of the accumulation area, because if price comes all this way back in and inverts a gap that just pushed out with volume, like you've got to look at the volume as well here. We're low volume here compared to that's confidently going up like that, does its job, and then turns right back around with more volume. So you've got to be aware that like this is now a strong area, and for us to come up, turn right back around and do that says something. That says, all right, we're not doing that, we're going the other way. Now, like I said, I don't know whether I'd take this straight off the bat. I think that I possibly would. So what I'm gonna do is take this trade, and this is one of them situations where I would go break even at this low here, because this is our main accumulation here. This, even though we have a bigger area, and like I said, we are coming, if you think about our higher time frame stuff as well, on a higher time frame we have accumulated here, come up and then push back down. Look again, if I was to take this as a trade, I would have taken, I possibly wouldn't have taken this iFVG here. I would have maybe taken, I don't know what iFVG I would have taken there, but yeah, anyway, I'm pretty confident in this. I like it. I think everything makes sense about it. I would potentially be waiting for that 1 minute to close, but I also think that there's strength in it, and I think that it'll go without the 1 minute closing. So we're gonna go break even at that low. Okay, cool. We're gonna go break even now. TP is gonna be at the low of this range. Let's see if we can get it. Cool, bang. Okay, perfect, lovely trade, and it's all down to just, you don't know whether this is going to be accumulation until you see the volume that comes out and comes in, and then you can spot it and go, okay, that looks like an accumulation there, so where have we, and then you connect the dots and go, there's a high there, we took that, so we've manipulated above there. And the most important thing, I cannot stress this enough, is having a gap that is inside of the accumulation. If we'd made a gap and the gap was above there, I just wouldn't take it, or I would change time frame to see which gap could I take. For example, like, I don't know, let's say there was one down there. I don't think there is any others. Like, unrealistic, but like you'd have to take something like that instead. Or you just have to, instead of taking this as a trade, you'd have to use it as a bias and go, okay, I think that we're going to come lower, but I can't get in that trade yet. So anyway, reevaluating this. Remember, we're still in a bigger accumulation. Remember, back on the 1 hour, accumulating heavily here. So what I want to see here is exactly the same thing. So we're going to drop time frames now and see if there's any gaps that led to this push out, and there's one right here. So that could be the gap that I like. It's a 30-minute gap. And that's the thing, like, I'm not sticking to just one time frame here. I'm dropping, I'm seeing what time frames are gonna give me the most realistic thing. This ain't a bad one as well, to be fair, this 5 minute, because it is still within this accumulation. Look, it's early on, but it's not down here. And I like that we tapped into it already, so I'd potentially take that 5 minute if we came back up. And that's the thing, it's if we come back up. Now I like that we're pushing deeper, that's a good sign. Especially with these bigger moves. Like, this is a 1 hour move, so I would expect us to dig like nice and deep before we turn around. Alright, we're still dropping deeper. This might be the end of my session. So we're accumulating again. Equal highs here. Let's see, do we turn back around? Alright, interesting, we're going to turn back around. So again, same here, I would not take this because it's on the edge of the outside of the accumulation. Yeah, the accumulation highs are there, but look how like, it's just look at all these wicks, like the bodies really just don't close much past there. So in this situation, I'd rather take that gap. Plus, like I said, it's been tapped into already. So when you see a gap that's been tapped into and it fails, that's more likely going to be a gap to take. So this looks good. Remember, we were waiting for a turnaround, but this has just offered us this trade. Let's just double check all this, make sure it looks good still. 3 minute, unfortunately, it doesn't have a gap. 5 minute does have a tiny gap there. And we are rejecting off both of these time frames. This does look good. It's not like the most exciting trade I'd want to take, but it does actually look good. Do I want to take it? I feel like for the purpose of this video, I feel like I should, because there's actually nothing wrong with it. There's a tiny 5 minute gap there, but I feel like if I left it that long, it'd potentially be too late. I may have closed quite solidly past that, so I am going to take this. Let's see if I regret it or not. I'm also like starting to kind of test whether stop losses could be like a close past all these iFVGs, or whether it's like worth doing that instead and getting a tighter stop loss. So again, it's a difficult one because where's your break even point? We did hit that. Personally, what would I do? Yeah, personally, I'd probably go break even here. Although if I do that, we're probably not going to win this trade. But it's not a great trade anyway. Yeah, okay, break even. Let's see if it saved us or lost us the win. think it might save us, to be honest. Yeah, saved us. Cool. So again, it's just because, like, for example, on this side of the coin, I'm confident with this being a manipulation because we've got equal highs there, which means liquidity resting there. And then when we go up, we come right back down. But down here, there's no like build up of liquidity. There's no like equal lows. If these lows were further down and there wasn't this big gap here, which is clearly rejected multiple times, then I wouldn't have went break even there. But because you could technically just look at this as an accumulation, like that high to from there to there, then technically that it needs to be the one that's taken, if that makes sense. But yeah, cool, with 2 for 2. Well, we basically haven't took a loss yet, which is good. But this is what I'm saying, like, for so long I've been back testing, figuring out why this shit isn't working anymore. And it's because I've been missing this key element to this strategy. Like, this has been a very, very important element to remind myself of. So anyway, coming back to this now, remember yesterday on the session we just did, this was what we was looking at. So we actually, interestingly though, we actually did come back up and invert that. But this is what I'm saying, like, if you look at this fair value gap, it's not in the range. I'll be very surprised to see that inverted something within the range. Remember, I think I looked at that one. I looked at taking that one, which never even got close to inverting. Like, it's not safe. It comes back up, but it just bounces off the exact kind of, this is the kind of area that people are playing like support and resistance. It's like, it's bouncing off there. So it's not for me. Another question would be, okay, if it came back up there now, would you take it? Probably not, because now it doesn't make sense in context to what we're doing. If that was my accumulation, we shouldn't be manipulating in stages, going down and down and down. However, this area could be the start of the accumulation, but it doesn't look like it. To me, this looks like we're going further down now, because we're just failing to make accumulations that kind of line up with going higher. There's a protected high because it took liquidity and broke structure. We've got another protected high there. We don't have any protected lows yet. So for now, I'd be looking at shorting this. Maybe within somewhere around here. Like I said, we don't know where the accumulation is until we see the rest of the things that come with it. Right now, this does not look friendly as an accumulation because we've got this big gap down here. So I'm gonna wait for price to just play itself out a little bit and see what we can get. So we've got equal low down there now. Still not really interested in taking any of this. We also have equal highs, which we've just taken. I wouldn't want to see us come past here because, well, only if I'm looking for shorts I wouldn't, but if we came and broke that, then I'd potentially switch my bias. Again, pushing up. Oh, actually, could we look at this as an accumulation and this is a manipulation distribution? Possibly not, but possibly. Like, this 15 minute is about to close, and it's about to close very strong. We have a fair value gap made from inside of the accumulation. Only thing I don't like about this is, like I said, that took liquidity and broke structure, so that I wouldn't expect that to get wrong. So I don't think I'd target that right now. But in terms of volume, I don't think this is going to lose. I think this is actually going to hit. I would potentially take this gap. and have these highs as the target. But yeah, I don't know. This isn't one that fills me with confidence. So I'd just watch this, but my guess is that it will hit. I think that it will hit, but like I said, I'm not involved in it. But also, like I said as well before, there's nothing wrong with not dropping down and then using that as a potential bias and being like, okay, where are we off to now? Alright, that is what I thought might happen. I think this is just about taking your time and finding what feels confident here, because this could also be an accumulation that we've got highs there, but there is no strong area that I would like to take this from. Potentially here, actually. I think if we inverted that down, I would most likely take that. So let's see. We might be getting lucky to be able to get in on that as well. Don't love this. If we inverted up on that, I wouldn't take it. There's no accumulation. Alright, cool. We're just kind of patiently waiting here because there's no clear direction. Yeah, there's nothing clear. It's quite good actually, but yeah, I wouldn't. It's not a trade I would take. I just want to see us like actually gather and build up some liquidity first. Again, not taking that. This looks like we're accumulating here. Look, if you look at this, we've got basically equal highs and equal lows. Alright, so we took that. Oh, we've actually closed on the 15. Damn. Okay. But we're bouncing off. No, we're not. There's nothing to bounce off. Oh, and we've left the equal lows. Now, this is a tough one, man. Personally, this looks like an accumulation to me, so I'd be looking at long in this, but there's a lot of things saying go short as well at the same time. But this is it. We just wait, stay patient. Remember, this isn't, at the moment, this isn't a safe fair value gap to take because it's right on the edge. So if we was going to take one, it would have to be, oh yeah, it's clear. It would have to be this 5. If this 5 gets inverted, then I'll take it up. But remember, I did say if this 15 got inverted down, I'd take it down. But at the moment, it's too conflicting, so I'm not going to take it down at the moment. I feel like taking it up makes a bit more sense. Yeah, obviously. So I'm gonna definitely jump in that. I'm gonna do a tight stop loss just to see. It's a bit of a shit trade, man, but I think it's gonna run away without me if I don't take it. So I'm gonna jump in and just hope that we get like a big push. I'm gonna do 1%, so I could potentially jump in again if it pulls back, which it might. I'm going to move that stop loss because I want it to be a close below the stop. I could have actually got in at a better price then. What we got here? Okay, I'm going to get in again on that. Where's my stop loss? Oh yeah, 4616. This is 4616. This is testing out tighter stop losses. Like, it doesn't fully fill me with confidence doing this, but I've been watching it and I feel like usually if you pick the right gap, we don't even close back past it. So that has hit. Yeah, that has hit. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go break even already on that. What are we? 400 or 200 risk? Oh, that's already hit TP. I I should have put TP there, but we've hit that 200. That's 1%. So I'm out of that trade. This one realistically is gonna go break even. Let's be honest. Yeah. Cool, decent trade though. Again, it's all to do with finding the right gap. And I think I did the right move by kind of getting in on 1% and then trying to get in on another 1%. But there was the TP there. And unsurprisingly, this high is still holding. So that's kind of what I expected to happen. And that is why you get out at the top, because this is now dumping. Would I take this? No, there's no clear accumulation now. Although look, it's about to invert that, but then need to kind of invert that, but then that's too low to even consider taking. So I don't know. Wow, this is mad. Where are we off to here? I'm actually curious. I think the low. I'm pretty sure we're gonna take the low. Ooh, this looks good. This is out of my time. This is out of my trading time. But if this turns around now and comes back down, I'd definitely take it. Okay, does. Again, look what I just remember what I keep saying. This is not a valid iFVG to take. It would have to be this one, and I know that sucks, but that's just what it has to be. It's got to be that one, because this could fail. See, it has closed past it. Not very strong, but it has closed past it. This looks like it wants to go higher. And there you go, look, this is going to fail. Can we take it up? Accumulated between there and there. Don't really love this. There's too many like lower lows for me to want to take that. Oh fucking hell, this is mad price action, man. It's just being patient now. Like with the price action's mad, but we're navigating it. Just staying out of the way, not forcing it. Nobody knows which direction this shit's gonna go right now. Alright, big volume. Took all of that. It's not a strong enough closure for me. Just because you could, one person looking at that could say that's closed, and one person looking at that could say it hasn't. So I'll be waiting for that. Look, by now it's too late because we've hit the accumulation low. The reason I say that's the accumulation low is because once we started there, we trapped, whereas it wouldn't be there because we was breaking stuff since then. So yeah, that is now unsafe to get in on. But it might come lower. Alright, looks like you're gonna get that win there. Very unlikely you'll be able to get in without it hitting. Where's the actual low? So the low's there. We're basically tickling it. Now I wouldn't do a loose stop loss on this either, because I feel like it has every right to come back higher. But there you go, hit. But yeah, this is the strategy. Like, as you can see, it doesn't really fail when you choose the right when you choose the right gaps. And realistically, like, before, like, even a week ago, I was kind of obsessed with, like, I need a clear draw on liquidity before I do this and like all of that kind of stuff. And at the moment, I'm kind of not even using a draw on liquidity, but what I am using is the fundamentals, and I'm like, okay, the shape, like, is this shaping up to be what I'm looking for? And when you see price doing all of this, it's just like stay out until you know, and then when you know, take the confident move instead of the unconfident move. Like I said, with this, when it came back down, I was like, if that inverts on the 15, I'll get in. But then by the time it had done it, I'm like, okay, is that actually it? Because one man could look at this and say, yeah, we're going higher. There's an accumulation, there's manipulation, there's a distribution. And then another could look at this and say, here's your accumulation, there's your manipulation, and there's your distribution. So it's like, okay, which one are we believing? And which one looks clean, like this, like this? Look, bam, equal highs, equal lows, then we sweep back down, take them, respect the gap, come back up. The only gap that made sense, or maybe this 3 minute, but yeah, like we would have had to take it all the way up there. But the only gap that makes sense, and it's deep within the range. Remember, if this is the range, that's the range. So we're not taking this little 3 minute gap here. Obviously, this trade it would have won, but you've seen how many times it can lose. We're not taking that. We're taking this one deep inside the gap. Because if we're going to come back all the way back up there and invert that confidently, then that is telling us everything we need to know. That's going to go for that high. I am going to back test those stop losses, like I said, because getting in this trade gave me more risk to reward because I had this looser stop loss. Whereas if I'd have done that, this wouldn't have even hit a take profit. Like realistically, I wouldn't have even got in on that trade. And if I did, it would have just been break even because full TP would have been all the way out there. But yeah, that is the strategy. If there's one thing to take away from this, it's volume. Or let me say volume in the right places. And that's it. There's not much more to it than that. Volume in the right places.